day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Hello. Good afternoon to you and to me. Welcome to my very large blue cup. My leisure, good to see you. Good to see you. Been in meetings most of the morning. Not even AA meetings, just making some connections, man, and it started to work. I shouldn't say it started to work, it's working. So, I think I'm going to go to work with a company. They're all the way well.org and Elevate Recovery Homes. I really like what they're doing. They have a new program that deals with reintegration, and that's right down my alley. You know, I can either go open up my halfway houses, which will take me another year and a half, or we can strike while the iron is hot. It isn't about clout. It isn't about taking credit. It's about the fact that it needs to be done. And that's all that matters. So I'm going to be making some changes. The days of, I know I've said it before, but the days of figuring out who's doing things right, who's doing things wrong, it's over with. It's just not needed anymore. Refreshing. I like things that are refreshing, especially when I'm thirsty. We're going to pull a page out of Al-Anon today. Every now and again, I bring in some Al-Anon readings. You know, not everything that we get is necessarily in AA, so I've been trying to bring you other topics that attune to what we're doing, but are more of a social thing. Understanding, the more that we understand certain things, the better off we're going to be. Once you become a recovered alcoholic, knowledge is power again, because now I have the right knowledge, right? Now, why would we alcohol? We're not codependents. Why would we alcoholics need to learn detachment? Because we're codependents. I know. Darn it. Darn it. I see codependency in AA all the time. All the time, man. And detachment is like one of the big things from Al-Anon. And we do, you're going to need to learn a detachment or it's going to hurt. Things are going to hurt. People will leave the program. They'll be gone all of a sudden. Bam, gone. Yeah. It isn't always death. You know, something happens to an alcoholic with a lot of shame and blame if they have a slip, things like that, and they may not come back. You know, when I work with people, I tell them I'm going to work with, even if you have a slip, I'm going to continue working with you. That does not end our relationship. I'm a forever person, you know, and I can claim to be a forever person because I'm not too worried about whether I want to go back out and drink again. I just, you know, I know we say, you know, you can't, I tell you, you know, I mean, the chances of me drinking again are slim to none. They're slim to none. Now, I'm not going to assume what life is going to bring me, but I think I've been through enough through life so far and met the challenges that, you know, I won't make the mistake of leaving my support system behind again. I will not do that. The people that keep me accountable. Um, you know, it's pretty easy to disappear when you're not accountable, but when you're accountable to a lot of people, not so easy to disappear. Not so easy. All right. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. Well, it'll be the double daily trudge. Maybe that's what I should start doing. If I go live more than once, then it'll be the double daily trudge, then the triple daily trudge. Let's hope we don't have to do a quadruple. That means Dion's got problems going on that day. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. Just got back from the grocery store. I'm getting better at going to the grocery store. I'm sure I didn't pick up half of what I needed to, but we got milk. My wife's been doing a lot. She doesn't need to run out of milk, right? Julia, good to see you. Kathleen, my favorite fucking Canuck. Run and joke with her and I. Run and joke. We just both discovered one day that fuck was one of our favorite words. So, but it's good to see you, Kathleen. Good to see you. So we're going to talk about detachment. All right. So let's go. Let's start with the Al-Anon reading. Courage to change. Right. All right. So here it says, for me, detachment is relatively easy with casual friends. I didn't mean to tie it to this, but that's the cool thing about recovery. Everything ties to each other. It does. I can take one topic from recovery and put it with another, and it will fit. It'll fit because we're doing the opposite of insanity. We're now we're going the other way. Yeah. But maybe not so fast. Maybe it's more like wee. All right. Casual friends. Well, we'll get more into it. Okay. I've noticed that when I am detached, I can listen to other people being critical or grumpy without being affected. Ooh, not getting emotionally involved, right? I was actually just kind of talking about this with somebody because this ties right into drama. Yeah. We alcoholics love drama. Whether we're drinking or not, we love drama. We're used to it. You want to know why? Because we're used to it. We're comfortable in drama. It was normal to us, right? I started growing up and seeing how other families worked. I'm like, this isn't how it goes. There's no drama in this house. Why is everything all nice and calm? You know, those times, remember when you sobered up and you finally had a moment to sit down and relax and you didn't know how to do it? Yeah, these are detachments, man. Very much goes along with drama. Or what else without being affected? Well, that would be a trigger for Dion. Some of the basic triggers for me, slamming doors. That's a trigger for me. I hear a slamming door. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And it's automatic for me. Um, slamming the microwave door will kind of set me off. These are all anger when people start throwing holes in walls and throwing punches, things like that. Yeah, it tends to set me off. Um, so I've got to be able to detach from other people's emotions. Sometimes we tend to attach to other people's emotions so we feel like we can belong. And I get that too, right? Yeah, chaos is another way to put it. You remember the song OPP by Digital Underground? I think it was Digital Underground. I may be wrong on that. But they sang a song called You Down with OPP, which stands for Other People's Problems. But if members of my family act the same way, I often take on their negative frame of mind. My own behavior shows me that I have a choice about my response to other people's moods and attributes. Yep. It's true. It's true. I don't like it when my wife is sad. Drives me nuts. I'm not upset with her that she's sad or upset. I want her to be happy. It's easier to do things when she's happy. Okay? Her sister passed away, 4 or 5 months ago now. Her ex-husband passed 2 days ago, and there's going to be sadness, man. And I have to allow that without necessarily bringing my own emotions into it. And so, what I have learned by comparing these two situations is that detachment involves paying attention to my own mood before I have a chance to take on someone else's. Wait. Sometimes people put things up and I can't see it from it. Oh, okay. Yeah. When you have empathy, when you have deep empathy, it's hard to draw that line so it doesn't turn into sympathy, to where I join in on their mood, right? Because negative emotions have a way of continuing on. In fact, a negative emotion is more apt to move on than a positive one is, right? We alcoholics kind of got to go out of our way to be happy, right? To find serenity in our lives, to find that balance, right? Happiness isn't the goal. Happiness is a dividend, right? Balance is the goal. Then I can simply see and hear negativity or anger without becoming negative or angry. I don't have to have a bad day just because someone else I love is struggling. This knowledge allows me to let everyone, including myself, feel whatever they feel without interference. See, what happens if I don't detach is then I'm going to try and make that person feel better. It's what I'm going to do. It's what I am going to do. Some emotions need to stay. They do. Sometimes sadness is necessary. Sometimes crying is necessary. There's a lot of, instant crying going on in the house right now because, they remember what, my stepdaughter lost her dad. She's having a hard time. My son was close to him. My granddaughter's here. That was her grandpa. This means something to them, you know. If we keep in our lanes and take care of ourselves, we can pass unconditional love to all that need it. Yeah. And just like I would give the grace of a complete stranger for being sad, I need to give that same grace to to the people in my life that I love. Right. Now, if somebody's really down and I need to provide some hope, I will do that. Absolutely, I will. I believe in encouragement, uh, but I got to understand that there's no way in heck that I'm going to be able to change their emotions. I can't do that, right? And even then, I might be arguing with God when I'm doing that. Maybe God is setting them up for something much bigger, and who am I to deny them that? No. When it comes to feelings, when it comes to emotions, we don't always have to let it go. Sometimes it needs to stay. Sometimes I need to feel that emotion for now. It doesn't, this too shall pass, right? Today's reminder, if I pause for a moment before focusing on someone else's mood, I may find out that I have feelings of my own that deserve attention. I will look for those moments to check in with myself today. We let go of our obsession with another's behavior and begin to lead a happier and more manageable lives with dignity and rights, lives guided by a power greater than ourselves. Detachment. They wrote, they put detachment at the end, like detachment itself wrote that. So there must be some guy out there named, or gal up there named Detachment that's writing stuff. That's the way it read. Now, I've also gone and asked AI. I'm not a huge fan of AI when it comes to entertainment, but it's become a good source to put things together for me to be able to present it to you. If you go look at the writing on the web page, I don't write like that. That wasn't me. I asked Chat GPT to put it together for me, so it sounds all fancy and crap. All right, but I don't write like that. Human beings don't really write like that. I wouldn't come up with all those cool $10 words, right? Examples. Like, and what I did is I said, give me some examples of detachment. Because I can sit here and say, oh, you got to detach, but that doesn't really give you anything. There's no substance in that, right? Um, and we're here to learn, we're here to educate. So let's figure out the different types of ways that we can detach. You guess you're an alien then? Beep boop bop boop. Guess you're an alien. I'm trying to get that joke and I'm missing it, Julia. If you can inform me a little bit, if you could inform me a little bit. All examples of detachment include remaining emotionally uninvolved in a situation, not taking coworkers' personal problem at heart, calmly reacting to criticism without feeling personally attacked. That's one for me. I just went through this with somebody that wrote me something. Um, and oh yes, okay, got it. Oh, because you write like that. I guess I should have said this human doesn't write like that and not lump everybody together. Because how did AI learn to write like that? Well, from humans. So, yeah, I was wrong on that. Um, yeah, sometimes somebody will take something and my PTSD takes it much differently than I should. But see, this is why I have people in my life that understand that I'm trying to become a better person, right? And 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 somebody I said something and it triggered someone else and I'm like, I take care of my own trigger, but that isn't what was happening. And it wasn't an attack. It was it was about them knowing I'm trying to be better and them informing me of a better way to do it. They were trying to make me a better person, but in my fucking mind, it was an attack. It was an attack. Hi, Michelle. Yeah. What? What? Yeah, it's all ego. Absolutely it is. Prioritizing logic over emotions when making decision, not letting a romantic partner mood significantly affect your own, and practicing meditation to cultivate a sense of distance from thoughts and feelings. We'll use my wife again here, like I was saying earlier. When she's sad, it's hard for me. Now, I'm one of those. Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. What's going on? I just gotta know. I don't do that anymore as much. But what it is now is, hey, do you need time? She's like, no, not now. I'm like, are you sure you don't need to talk because I am here? No. Okay. Well, if and when you're ready to talk and you need somebody to talk to, I'm here. And then I just become available. And that in and of itself brings her enough comfort to know, hey, Dion is respecting my space in this because maybe she's been crying about it all day. If she starts to talk about it again, she's going to cry again. And all she wants to do is just hang out with her husband and feel safe and secure when that's what I need to be doing instead of solving her problem for her. Mansplaining. That's another one, big one, right? Let me explain mansplaining to you. That's a joke. That's a joke. Key points about detachment: emotional distance, not allowing your emotions to be heavily influenced by external factors or other people's actions. God, doesn't that sound a lot like us? Like the people that used to live with us while we were drinking, who needed to use a detachment so they didn't fucking slap you across the face like I needed, right? Okay, we use this a lot in AA. Yeah. What? Now you're gonna woman splain it? Where's the fucking ketchup? I think everybody will get that one who's ever been with a man. We search too. We search. I swear to God, we do. We just can't fucking find it. And it's quite often I go my way. I'm like, I know we have ketchup. Where is it? I've looked all through, and of course it's right in front of me. Yeah. So getting to a point where we understand that maybe our parents did do some things. They did the best that they can. I'm gonna kind of leave that at that. You know, um, but you got to get to a point, at least in your 20s, where you no longer blame your parents for who you are. You can't blame other people for your mood, because for us, that's an excuse to act like a jerk, to go to drink, to do things like that, right? Well, if you had my wife, you'd drink too. Well, if you had my job, you'd drink too. If if you had to deal with my husband not finding the ketchup, you what? You would drink too, right? Well, that's the same thing. Don't join in on the pity party. Come on up, dude. Come on up. This one's Sebastian. I know he looks all cute and cuddly, but do you want to tell him? I'm a bully. I'm a bully. Oh, you all right? He dunked his head. He likes to sit in my lap. The other ones just, at least he just sits in my lap. The other ones will not leave me alone. I need to give them more attention because I haven't been giving them. Observing without judgment. Yeah. Being able to see a situation objectively without letting personal biases cloud your perspective, right? I watch a lot of Law and Order and crime shit, right? And this is the way it always works. Hey, Dion, you're too close to this case. You can't be involved, and they always are. But it's the same thing. Sometimes I'm too close to a problem to be able to help solve it. Yeah, yeah. Like my children's drinking and drugging. Couldn't do a fucking thing about it. With everything that I do, everything I say, all the other people that I help, it could not be a family member. See, right? What I could do is be a good example to them, observe them without being judgmental. And when it's your kids, then it's a little bit tougher. You know, we do this, what we'll in the program, we call this unconditional love. Leisure just brought it up a little bit ago. We can always rationalize our actions, yeah. Right. And that's in quotations because things in quotations are bullshit. It means it's not working, right? Um, but being able to help somebody, this is what I would call a servant's heart. A lot of people that have servant's hearts go on to be pastors. They minister. They're usually the leaders. We do it quite often in AA. A 12 step would be observing without judgment. Yes, absolutely. Not taking things personally. Like I said earlier, that's a big one for me. Okay. And why did I always take things personally? Because people won't, I've been called names all my life. I've been called names. And after a while, you just get fucking tired of it, man. You get tired of being called names, right? Now, the example I made earlier where somebody was trying to help me be a better person, that wasn't, that was constructive criticism. And I have got to be able to accept constructive criticism. I can't go to God every morning and say, God, please help me be a better person, and then not listen to his children because I'm taking it personally. Yeah. Oh, four agreements will probably be a good one to do again soon. Remind me of that in a couple of days, leisure. If I do it immediately, it'll blend into this a little too much. But maybe this weekend be a good place to do the four agreements. Um, Not to, so recognizing that other people's actions are often reflections of their own experiences, not necessarily directed at you. When uh when I was 17, I had this girlfriend. She had run away from home, and she was living with me. Her mom and stuff knew where she was, but anyway, I'm always trying to make myself sound like the good guy. No, it was wrong. Okay, I was emancipated, right? But a big song at the time, well, a song that I really liked was by Bon Jovi called "Runaway." I just loved it. And she, is that about me? Is that about me? I'm like, no, I am not singing about you. I'm not. But see how you could take it that way. Oftentimes, somebody will put something on Facebook or whatever, and maybe they're one of your friends, and it goes against how you feel or your opinions, and it gets taken personally. Yeah. You know, I was just talking to her name's Christine. She works over at Adams County. Uh, she's in recovery, but she ain't in the program, so I ain't blowing any end. I mean, she'd rather bring me say her name. She's a neat lady. She's awesome. But we were just talking about the difference between communication and convenience, right? Like even earlier, Julia said, "I guess I'm an alien." Right? But I wasn't sure what she was talking about, and it was the way we people write or whatever, right? And I didn't connect that. Now, if her and I would have just been talking, she would have said that immediately, and the conversation would have moved forward, right? So when it comes to communication, okay, the only way is if this is moving. That's not communication. That is convenience. Okay. And then we got together, we watched a Jay and Peel, I love those guys, about how it gets miscommunicated. Well, one person's like, oh, yeah, let's go do this. But yeah, they do. I'm not even going to try because I would do them a disservice, right? But the big one for me, especially because of my PTSD, what it does is, well, what it used to, it doesn't anymore. Everyone was the fucking enemy, man. Everyone was after me. It comes with a level of paranoia. It does. I had to work really hard to understand that people weren't out there doing things against Dion. Okay. And it wasn't necessarily an ego thing, it was just a thought process I couldn't get rid of. Although at the same time, it does help to think, Dion, I mean, come on, they're talking about you. Yeah, there are, though. There are some people talking about me, but I hope it's good now. What's the other thing that really helps with this? Work on your self esteem. I've been bringing up self esteem a lot lately. Yeah. Okay. Because if you know who you are and somebody else says something, what's going to happen is instead of me taking it personally or me taking offense to that, I am actually going to take a look at it. I'm going to, and I don't know what it is, but I've always been able to do this. Not always been able to do it, but I seem to have been better. Uh, I spent a lot of time alone. And I'll give you a good example of that. Um, just like I was talking with Christine, that's probably why a lot of this stuff is coming to my mind because I just talked about it. But you know, um, I understand, and I've understood this since 1986, 87, actually probably earlier than that, that I was privileged. That I was privileged, and that even though like I was in group homes and that I was poor, that my poor was not the same as somebody else's poor from a different ethnicity. And I figured that out quick. Okay. And and I hope nobody takes this wrong, but I do use my white privilege to make changes for everyone. You bet. I understand that I have it. Do am I do I agree with it? No. No. But why not utilize it to the best of its ability? Why not do something? Then why not take that privilege to go show other people that everyone deserves the same privilege. Yeah, you know, but I would have never gotten to this place to that place if I wasn't being honest with myself, right? And because there's a lot of white people that they don't understand it, okay? And what happened to me was, I grew up in white suburbia. I did. And when I went into group homes, I became the minority and I saw how different everybody else's life was compared to mine. And I saw how much fucking better I had it just because of who I was. And I've never been okay with that. I was picked on a lot, things like that. So when other people do not get what I get because they're female, yeah, I'm not okay with that. Um, just like being grateful for having a roof over my head. I am grateful, but I'm not grateful. I'll be really grateful when everybody has a roof over their head. That's when I will be grateful for having a roof over my head. Okay. Other than that, it just kind of feels like an expectation. So, our Vada. Oh, yeah, I get that because you're in Arvada and it's our Vada. Am I catching that right, Leisure? So, healthy boundaries. Oh, first of all, we got to figure out what healthy boundaries are. Otherwise, it's going to say you should just have some healthy boundaries. It's probably the description they're going to give us. Setting limits in relationships to protect your own emotional well-being. Maybe maybe you have a friend who's been stuck on a problem for 2 years and they just won't let it go. Hey, I'm not willing to talk to you about that anymore. We can talk about other things, but you beat that horse to death, man. We can't do that. A good boundary my wife set with me. Um, no, thanks, man. I try to be. I try to be. I got quick wit, but that's because I wasn't a very big kid, so I had to fight with my words. All right. Um, Towards the end of my drinking, um, um, Shannon told me, she said, um, I'm not going to be around you if you're drinking. And it was the final thing because I knew she was in the house, but she wanted to spend time to me, and I couldn't go. I couldn't go for that. How do I set healthy boundaries? Let's go into that a little bit since they didn't really give us a way on how to set healthy boundaries. But again, healthy boundaries do come from inside. And it's got to be an honesty. It's got to be an honesty. It's taken me a long time to have not necessarily strong boundaries, but healthy boundaries. Because before I had unhealthy boundaries. What was one of my unhealthy boundaries? Well, Jim Beam and I used to like to play this little game called Leave Me the Fuck Alone. Unless, of course, you were my wife and I wanted you around, right? Yeah. Agreed, Leisure. I didn't want to be around me either. Absolutely. I loathed if there was a word stronger than hate, I'd use it. I mean, there was nothing in this world that Dion what should I for it was often I'm like, Dion, why did you give me Shannon? She's too good for me. I'm glad I didn't I'm glad that I was wrong. I'm glad that I was wrong because I do. I try and be a very good husband. I do. So, to set healthy boundaries, first identify your needs and your limits. Well, that'd be steps 1 through 5. That'd be steps 1 through 5, right? Where we're getting down to causes and conditions, where we're getting down to, oh, well, I was being selfish in this situations. Look at all these relations that I had where it was just about me, 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 right? Then clearly communicate to them using I statements. So clinical, it makes my head spin, but they're right. They're right. I statements, not you, not we, I. I, me. Okay. When it comes to healthy boundaries. Hi, Ingrid. It's good to see you. Right. Something like this. Let's say Shannon does something that hurts my feelings. Okay. And what the way it's gonna go is, okay, so when this was said, I felt this way and I took it this way. Am I taking it correctly? See how it's like I'm putting it on me because really the problem probably is kind of mine, right? But I might be misunderstanding because that's usually where it comes from. It's usually where it comes from is a misunderstanding, or maybe I said it wrong. We got to allow for that human factor. Be assertive and respectful while also being prepared to say no when necessary. Now we're going to have to cover assertiveness. Not today. That's a whole nother basket. Also being prepared to say no when necessary. No is a full sentence in my book. But usually we tend to, because we want to be respectful. You know why? Because, but we got to be honest about it. You know, for with my PTSD, um, Shannon kept inviting me and inviting me and inviting me and inviting me and inviting. I'm like, sweetie, every time I get invited, I get very uncomfortable because I don't want to tell you no. So we came to the conclusion that Dion gets an automatic invite. And that made me feel more comfortable about it. And I started going a little bit more. See? We were able to come to a decision and a path that kind of worked for me. So that way, because she was asking me because she wanted me to feel left out. Very, very valid. Key steps to healthy boundaries: self-reflection, internal honesty. Take time to understand your personal values, needs, and what makes you feel uncomfortable in different situations. Uh, I'm kind of going through that right now, where I'm going through my values, and I'm going through my values so that I know what it is that I can provide to wherever I'm going to go to work. Because I'm going after that now. So identify your boundaries. Clearly define what constitutes a boundary for you, whether it's physical, space, time, emotional support, or personal information. Yeah. So what they're saying is, what is the boundary? So you got to identify it first, right? And this is where questions like, is that what I really want? Is that what I really need? Am I looking at this correctly? This is where these kinds of questions will come in really good, because my therapist quite often asks me, Dion, is that what you really want? And I think on it for a second. I'm like, not really. Not really. Oh, okay. Then there's no point in continue going forward with it, because I was just running my mouth, right? Um, but it can be, so boundaries again come in four different forms, just like everything else. There are physical boundaries, there are emotional, there are mental. I don't know why people put emotional and mental together, because one is fact and the other one's not. Okay. And of course, spiritual. Yeah. There are spiritual boundaries. You bet. I I probably would not hang out with me and cut down God. That's going to be a boundary of mine. Now, sometimes I go to an AA meeting and people say they don't believe in God and things like that. That's not the same. But when somebody directly like cuts down AA, or 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 assumes that I'm not doing what I'm doing, yeah, man, they're really kind of going past my boundary. But I would also say pick your battles. Pick your battles. You know, it is so easy for other people to say things when you're hiding behind a screen, right? Yeah. Okay. This is my key. Okay. If you meet me in public, this is how I act. I don't act much different than this at any given time. Now, I may act a little bit different if I'm around some professionals. And what is that difference going to be? The way I talk. I probably won't swear as much. I still swear. So sometimes a fucking point needs to be made. Just use them as adjectives. So, um, a physical boundary would be, the granddaughter that's here. Sometimes she doesn't want to hug. I ask because I remember my parents said, "Oh, give him a hug, give him a hug." I fucking hated hugging my cousins and my uncles. My auntie, not so much. I loved my auntie, right? So I don't force that on my grandkids. I ask, "Can I have a hug?" And if they say no, I'm like, "Okay, then fist bump me." Uh, doesn't mean they don't love me. It just, you know, maybe I stink and they don't want to smell like me, right? An emotional boundary. Woo, those are the hardest ones. You know, feelings aren't necessarily facts. That pisses me off, which is not a fact, obviously, because it made me emotional, right? I, I, I appreciate it. I don't disagree with it, but that doesn't mean I like it. Because there are plenty of times when I want my emotions to be facts. But what did Leisure say? Everything kind of seems to go back to ego, doesn't it? And that's very much ego, right? Um, an emotional one, maybe you've been a part of domestic violence and the way somebody is talking is making you feel that way. That could be a boundary. Hey, I've kind of been through some things. Do you mind backing off on maybe that? Be assertive. Stand firm on your boundaries while still being respectful of others' needs. Okay. Boundaries does not come with assholism. It does not give me a right to be. There's a big difference between rigorous honesty and brutal honesty. Yeah. I noticed when hugs took the place of handshaking. Yeah. Yeah. What was wrong with that? You I don't ever assume that somebody well, that's not true. My daughter was crying yesterday. I just went up and gave her a hug. Yeah. But being assertive. So, hey, you know what? You kind of crossed a boundary here, right? Um, sometimes I have to raise my voice to get it to the point where I'm going to stand firm. Yeah. Been a couple times when I've had to use the full brunt of my voice to say no. It's often with the cats. You see me booting them off me all the time. So practice saying no. Don't be afraid to decline requests that go against your boundaries. Yeah. Hey, Dion, are you going down to because there's a recovery walk every year, which by the way, I'm going to try and shut down this here. But no, I'm not. We're done with that stuff, aren't we? Yes, we are. Awesome. Cool. People ask me if I was going to it, and I'm like, no, I'm not. Hey, Dion, because there's a bunch of people down there that it goes against my set of morals that I have, which is that we don't abuse people for money. I'll just leave that at that. Okay. So no, I'm not going to go down and support that. If you want to go, um, I may think a little differently of you, but I'm going to stop being your friend. I may refrain from saying certain things to you. Why am I doing that? It's because I'm being respectful. Not everybody needs to believe in what I believe in. That's silly. That's silly. You know, um, I don't like losing friends over things like that. So be consistent. That's a big one. So be consistent on your boundaries. Enforce your boundaries consistently across different situations and with different people. Examples of healthy boundaries. We'll just say these real quick and then I'll wrap up. Personal space, setting limits on how close someone can stand next to you. Time management, declining requests that would significantly disrupt your schedule, unless, of course, it's a 12-step call. Emotional boundaries. You know, I'm going to love this one because I want my feelings to be facts. So this is good. This is a good way to be like, okay, not taking responsibility for others' emotions or feeling obligated to fix their problems. And that goes straight back to the detachment that we were talking about. Privacy, choosing what information you share with others. Don't dump at meetings. Okay. You want your boundaries to be respected. Don't dump at meetings, or everybody is going to cross your boundaries. They will all give you advice. It'll be advice you do not want. Some of it will be unsolicited just because you shared something. So be careful when um, the way I share here is not the same way I share at meetings. I share differently at meetings. I don't get as in depth. Of course, I don't have 45 minutes to talk with a captive audience either, right? I've got to fit it all into a 3 to 5 minute kind of a thing. Um, Work-life balance, separating work hours from personal time. All right. Well, I think that'll be it for this one. Thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. We had um I really appreciate other people sharing their experiences, the different things that we put in, making it a little entertaining. Hey, Gary, you slipped in. Yeah, you're like 47 minutes late. It's all right. So, but yeah, when people participate, it makes this better. It does. So, isn't it nice that you can go to a place, speak your mind, and life becomes better? It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Especially now that YouTube is sending out notifications again. All right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do.